Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty RoundTable Radio Talk Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, the F-15 Shootdown. Do you have skepticism? Boy, do I. The Straits of Hormuz seem to be locked right on down. Who's in charge, baby? It sure ain't the Donald. Heroic rescues? We'll talk about it all. You're listening to and watching Liberty RoundTable live every weekday, Monday through Friday. Available at libertyroundtable.com, libertynewsradio.com, YouTube, Rumble, X, Truth Social. The list just goes on and on, ladies and gentlemen. The 25th Amendment, moving target of Iran war and ceasefires, the Straits of Hormuz, Melania Trump, we'll talk about her too. The cause of liberty is a spiritual war. There's no doubt about that reality check. A massive betrayal. We got it all right here on Liberty RoundTable Live. And here to break it down with me, every freedom-loving, fantastic, faith-filled, we're taking America but back one heart, one mind, one issue at a time Friday, is the good Dr. Radley. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Sam. Sometimes I start off, if there's some appropriate thing worth mentioning about, this day in history or whatever, kind of thing. I don't want to get distracted. Sometimes I am I'm quite adroit at getting distracted. But today marks the 114th anniversary of the maiden voyage beginning for the Titanic. Now, again, we all know how happily ever after that turned out. But it made me
also
think
know
of
the conspiracies surrounding that too, right?
Oh, there's tons of stuff we could talk. And again, I don't want to get distracted, but the one word that came to my mind when I realized that this morning was hubris. Hubris is an overabundance of pride and arrogance and all that kind of stuff. They talk about pride.
Well, that doesn't apply to today, Doctor.
No, that's the problem. I think it overabundantly applies today.
Yes, it does.
We have hubris in individuals. We have it in businesses. We have it in churches. We have it in nations. And the old saying of "pride goeth before the fall" is
real.
Very it's an accurate statement. And this is an overabundance of pride and arrogance and I worry sometimes because I observe a great deal of hubris that is putting us as a nation at great risk. And I think we need a little bit of humility as a nation, and we'll get it ultimately and finally. I think God will have a humble people.
God will have a humble people, whether we choose it. Hopefully that's the way we go, or we'll be forced to be humble. It's going to happen.
No, there's no question. It will happen. It's just how. And,
I hope it happens because we, the people, turn to God Almighty and follow, what is it? 2 Chronicles, what is it? 7 or 14, 7:14, 7:14 or whatever. Is that where it is?
Well, unfortunately, it just seems to build.
Where's it at though? That we can turn to God and repent, and He'll heal our land and protect us. Isn't it 2 Chronicles?
I'll have to look it up here in a minute. Right now, I've got my scriptures here in front of me, but I don't have them open to that.
Anyway, all I'm telling you is that's the way I hope we go, is the reason I'm bringing it up.
Oh,
if
absolutely.
We can turn to God and repent and
with
humble ourselves, and He promises us He'll protect us. Wow, what a promise. Heal our land. I mean, it just doesn't get better than that, Doctor. That's why I bring it up.
Well, and the thing is, let's just take, I don't know. There's so many good examples of bad examples we could talk about, but this war with Iran, for example, we start a war, and then we're mad at our allies for not jumping in and finishing it or participating or what of it.
Yeah, you need to fight harder.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that now NATO's come on bended knee, and it's kind of like, they're going to jump in too. But no, you look at the connect the dots things on this. If a nation can call on other nations to gang up on other nations, someday, somehow, some way, that may apply to our nation.
And you're saying that at some point people might change alliances or allegiances, and they might decide to gang up on us, Doctor?
Can you imagine? And you know, we may...
The world would turn upside down again, Doctor.
And you know what? It happens on a lot of things. This stuff about, let's do warrantless searches. Those are called red flag laws in a lot of ways. And so we don't like them when it applies to the Second Amendment. I mean, you and I don't. A lot of people do.
You certainly can't search the Donald.
Well, here's the deal, though. Anything that's happening right now, if you flipped the
script
scenario just a little bit, you can see how it would become a very, very dangerous world, and it's all brought on by
depends on who you are, Doctor.
Yeah.
If it'd be a
I'm so discouraged
world,
with hubris. That's what gets me. The Titanic sank because of hubris.
That's for sure. So did the Tower of Babel get destroyed?
Well, it does. It does.
For the same reason, right?
Every single step of the way, I think we need to do an introspection.
Didn't the Savior die on the cross and rise from the dead for that same reason?
Well, the hubris of nation, of a religion, But here's the deal, though. We so rarely will recognize the risk we put ourselves at because a prideful statement in one direction or another that can be flipped on an instant on us. I mean,
hubris and wickedness, aren't they pretty much equals to a great degree?
Well, some people are just plain prideful and arrogant, and they don't go out and do wicked things, maybe.
I hope I'm not one of those guys, but I
that's the thing is, here's just the point, and then we can move on. Here's the deal. When the Last Supper was occurring, and Jesus told his apostles, disciples, one of you guys is going to turn on me. And instead of those guys pointing at other fingers at other people and saying, I knew it was him all along.
Is it I, Lord?
They introspected.
Wisely so.
And that's the thing. You say, is it I? Is it I? I mean, we need to do some more introspection, I think, in the things that we do, because there's a lot of times we overlook our own hubris, and I wished our nation would do that.
I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I try not to do that, folks. And I hope we as a people stop doing that. And I hope we can turn to God and humble ourselves and everything else. You guys had the webinar last night, right?
We did indeed.
Did you talk about hubris?
No. Well, yeah, we did without bringing the word up, because hubris is driving a lot of the things that are going on right now.
It's the word of the day, Dr. Hubris.
Okay, well, let's see if you can use it in a sentence a few times today.
All right, so here it is. You ready?
Okay.
The F-15 shootdown / rescue story. Did we get shot down because of hubris?
Well, I fear. I feel fear that happened.
The answer is a resounding yes.
There were two
and unfortunately,
questions.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there were two questions about the shootdown. On the first question, it was like, how come we got shot down? I thought we got rid of all of the, the capability of, missiles and radar and all that kind of stuff, and boom.
Oh yeah, we took them back to the last century, buddy. They're,
Well, and I made a comment in there that brought up a feeling that I had some skepticism about the official story. And
you did
I said,
too?
okay, we'll talk about the official story, and we'll move on. So I talked about the official story.
No, we can't just talk about the official story and move on. That would be dereliction of duty.
Well, I've only got 15 minutes per answer.
Yes, the rescue was impressive. But the fact that the F-15 was shut down may be the more important story here, Doctor.
Well, I think that it's a lie. That's how I come into it. I am absolutely convinced that we have not been. I hate being lied to, Sam. That's one of my least favorite things. And
I can understand that. The Lord says that's one of his least favorite things. We got a lot of lies going on nowadays,
but what happened was, according to the story, was that there was we lost an F-15 with two crew members, and there was an overabundance of effort to regain those and save those people.
They found one quickly. The other one took the greatest heroic expenditure of talent, manpower, money, time, capabilities, etc. the world's ever known. That's what they want you to believe, right?
Right. But the fact is, maybe
Can I
there's
ask
more
a
of the rest
question
of the
about
story.
this?
Say again?
Can I ask a question about this?
We struggle with that every day, Sam. Go ahead.
All right, here it is. I'm going to ask the question. We'll come back and talk about the answer to the question. Are they selectively representing the facts to, quote, shape the narrative? Are they selectively re-representing the facts to shape the narrative? We'll talk about it with Dr. Bradley in seconds.
The Foundation for Moral Law is a nonprofit legal foundation committed to protecting our unalienable right to publicly acknowledge God. The Foundation for Moral Law exists to restore the knowledge of God in law and government and to acknowledge and defend the truth that man is endowed with rights not by our fellow man, but by God. The foundation maintains a twofold focus. First, litigation within state and federal courts. Second, education, conducting seminars to teach the necessity and importance of acknowledging God in law and government. How can you help? Please make a tax-deductible contribution, allowing foundation attorneys to continue the fight. You may also purchase various foundation products as well at morallaw.org. Located in Montgomery, Alabama, the Foundation for Moral Law is a nonprofit, tax-exempt 501c3 founded by Judge Roy Moore. Please partner with us to achieve this important mission. morallaw.org.
Are you watching what's happening in our country and asking, what can I do? Join the John Birch Society in Salt Lake City, June 6th, for a powerful one-day conference. The day includes a host of respected speakers, 2 meals, and meaningful connections. You'll gain clarity on the issues and walk away with practical steps you can take to your community. Reserve your seat today at jbs.org/SLC26. That's jbs.org/SLC26.
All right, coming out of the break, I asked Dr. Scott Bradley over at freedomsrisingsun.com, riding shotgun on the broadcast today, the question slightly differently. Heroic rescue or carefully managed, manipulated narrative? Doctor?
Well, it seems to me that the narrative doesn't match what some of the facts seem to be in on it.
Oh,
and
shoot.
And it's tragic that we put people's lives at risk, a great many people in this particular instance. And I think here's the deal. Okay, the F-15 gets shot down. It could have been from any number of possibilities. A new generation of SAMs is coming out, according to surface-to-air missiles, according to Iran.
Hold on, I was born in 1967 now.
Yeah, okay, well, you're kind of a new generation to me anyway.
Yeah,
but
and I'm a SAM, so there you go.
Yeah, that's right. You got it. I mean, I
Okay.
caught that immediately. But the surface-to-air missiles, new generation, the Iranians are saying they've got some latest technology, radar coming online, all that kind of stuff.
I think this show might
the
be more
higher
dangerous
probability,
than
in my
missiles, though,
opinion,
to the
if there's
establishment, though.
say again.
I think this show might be a little more dangerous than a SAM to the establishment, though.
Yeah, but here's the deal. More than likely, in my opinion, it was brought down by a Stinger-type shoulder-fired
Yes, sir.
missile.
Which means they
okay?
could be anywhere. There's gazillions of them out there, and they could be in the United States by all kinds of. I mean, they could be everywhere. We have no idea what we're up against with this kind of stuff. When you take tiny drones, tiny speedboats, tiny shoulder-fire missiles, miniaturization, if you will, through technology and space and technology related to military-industrial complex and stuff, the game has changed, my friend.
Well, and we can look at an example of how it dynamically changed the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. And the Soviets had air superiority. It was at will, whatever they wanted to do, until U.S. Stinger missiles showed up. I don't remember the number. I mean, it's been several decades, but it was something in the order of 300,000. We delivered about 300,000 of those little babies. and the Soviets had to stand off or risk being shot down. It effectively eliminated their close air support across the board. The insertion of troops was more difficult. Support while in combat was almost impossible. Extraction of wounded, extraction of troops after action. I mean, the whole 9 yards. The Soviets had to rethink that, and it changed the whole dynamic of that Afghan war with the Soviets. Okay, so we had an F-15 get shot down. I don't know exactly what technology was used, but high probability. Soviets have a style of a Stinger missile too. I don't think it's as good as ours, but it's still pretty good technology. So 2 crew members ejected. 1 got recovered quickly, as you mentioned. 1 was missing for about 48 hours. I'm telling you the administration's storyline. But a lot of things start to fall apart after the shootdown. Some of the response is weird. When these guys go down, they activate a beacon. I would submit to you that at every moment, we knew where both crew members were. And so by that beacon, we could do that, okay? That we were told that 1 wounded officer, traveled a great distance. Some reports over 100 miles on foot in that 48 hours.
Yeah, but how do you make him a hero if you don't just, talk about just insurmountable odds that you overcome and all this kind of stuff? Doctor, you don't know how to make a movie or tell a story, do you, sir?
Well, that's the thing, but it gets even more concerning. Okay, he climbed to 7,000 feet. He was winded. We knew where he was, unquestionably.
Yeah, man, but it's kind of like the bullet that shot Charlie Kirk. Charlie's bones were just too tough. This guy was just too tough.
Well, we're told that hundreds of troops deployed to the rescue attempt. We lost a couple of C-130s. They're very expensive. Let's say $75 million to $175 million, depending on how you're equipped. They can land in unimproved open areas, and that you don't need a paved runway. In other words, okay. But they say the aircraft were unable to get off the ground. They brought hundreds of boots to the ground there to look for this. Here's how most of these recoveries happen with shootdowns. Most of the recoveries happen with a pararescue team, about 4 people. They're in and they're out. Boom, boom.
No. See, that's no good of a story. We knew where he was the whole time and sent a couple of guys in and got him, and we're... Doctor, how are you going to sell war like that, sir?
Well, let me tell you, we lost more than that. We lost helicopters. We lost an A-10 Warthog. That's depending on how equipped, 20 to 120 million. I mean,
But it just shows how pro-life we are. We'll go to all lengths, buddy. Nobody left behind. I mean, we're the rock stars of the world. Don't you understand?
Well, all of this just it stinks, in fact. And I'm telling you,
heroic rescue or carefully managed narrative, folks. Yeah, you can say the rescue was impressive if you want to, but in my opinion, they're selectively representing the facts to change or shape the narrative, folks. They want mileage out of this sucker, right?
Well, here's the deal. I think it was a totally different mission. I think what they set out to do, and again, I'm speculating because I don't have any insight to any kind of these kind of things that have been kept top secret and so on. But based on the size of the operation, the aircraft that were involved, the location where this stuff happened, this was the area where their buried uranium is, their enriched uranium. And I'm just wondering, I wonder if Trump didn't try to do a Jimmy Carter type operation. You remember back in April of 1980 when I don't know what it was Operation Eagle Talon or something like that. We had some C-130s go in. It was a disaster. Our people died, and we had to turn tail and run. It was an effort to rescue the embassy hostages, okay? And it just unraveled horribly. I just wonder. Now, see, I've never flown in a C-130. I used to fly in 124s and 97s. I mean, they were big airplanes, too. They hauled a lot of stuff. We used to put some pretty heavy equipment on those things along with people. And I just wonder if we weren't moving in there with earth-moving equipment to try and recover, based upon where the second crew member supposedly was recovered. It was within miles of this site that got destroyed in June by that midnight hammer. And I just wonder if there wasn't some kind of rescue operation for enriched uranium. I mean, this sounds really outrageous, but hubris.
I can tell you this. The problem with this is that we can't know the truth. We can't trust our government. We can't know the facts. So I think you may be onto something there, and I think that, real investigations could, tell the tale. The problem is now, if you don't tell the story Trump wants you to tell, they're ready to come after you in the media and try to, put you in jail. You can't report stuff like that, doctor. Who do you think you are? You have no evidence. And so your free speech, your free association, your freedom to assemble, your freedom to think what you want, believe what you choose, and everything else. Hey, the thought police are coming for you, buddy.
Well, that's a danger for those that try and exercise First Amendment, which was there to bring to light political things that could be destructive. Now, that's a real danger. But I'm very concerned. I mean, Jimmy Carter fessed up to it back in April of 1980. He stood up and says,
yep. But that was back when we had a little bit of honor left in the nation, sir.
Yeah, it was. But the problem is that because of hubris, sometimes we do things. And those things are like attack when we're in negotiations, like we did in June and like we did February 28th.
And like we did right while we're claiming that, Israel's running around saying, hey, Lebanon's not part of the ceasefire. Let's just keep bombing, taking care of business over there while we pretend we're in a fragile ceasefire. Well, it's so fragile because it's not being honored. But anyway, we digress.
Well, the ceasefire, yeah, that's another topic we're losing time faster than I can, I use up my
Yeah, so let's just stick with it, though. Bottom line is we're not believing the tales we're being told, folks, about this rescue. Yeah, the sounds of it was impressive. But I'm convinced that, hey, the fact that it was shut down is the more important story. We haven't disabled them near as much as we think. If they can keep the Strait of Hormuz blocked to the degree they are and force Donald to virtually beg everybody to help him, then no one helps him. So then he capitulates, and then they're able to shoot down that aircraft. They've got a whole lot more mojo than we think they do. And so, was it a heroic rescue or was it really a managed narrative? I submit to you that they're selectively presenting facts to shape the narrative. They're lying to us on what's going on. You can't trust your government. That's the problem. And if you don't believe me, Trump says, hey, that's not the agreement we made to keep the Straits of Hormuz blocked for Iran to say they're in charge and they're going to charge fees for people to go through. And then Iran says, well, that wasn't the deal for you to keep attacking Lebanon. You said it was a ceasefire, and you're not ceasefiring. Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu and company are going nuts, and they love, war at every turn. Okay, so now basically you just got this world claim on both sides. What are the facts? Well, why don't they just show us the agreement, Doctor?
Well, that would be way too simple. I mean,
just show us the agreement. Let me read it. Put it online.
Iran.
Show me who signed it.
Well, that's the thing.
If you say, well, wait a minute, Sam, it was verbal. Well, I don't know if you know this, but in real estate and other things, they say if it's not written, it's not an agreement, right? So, who wrote it, who signed it, who agreed to it, who, whatever. Otherwise, it's he said, she said, right?
Well, that's the thing. And Pakistan apparently brokered this thing. Iran and Pakistan both agree that the ceasefire...
Why would we let Iran and Pakistan? I thought Trump was the great broker guy.
Well, the problem is that his trust level is in the toilet.
Oh, no, what do we do? Well, some people are thinking 25th Amendment, baby. That's what they're thinking, right? The 25th Amendment is being suggested. What does that mean? Dr. Bradley's with me. That's the good news, and we'll break it down just for you. That's who we are and what we do. You're watching and listening to the one and only hard-hitting news the network refuses to use program called Liberty RoundTable Live, ladies and gentlemen. So listen, we got to work on this stuff. We got to talk about it. Most don't have the mojo to talk about it because you can't go against MAGA or it's like death, right? It's like political suicide to go against the MAGA. I don't think so. We stand tall for the sacred cause of liberty, okay? That's who we are. That's what we do. I'm Sam Bushman. LibertyRoundTable.com, FreedomsRisingSun.com. God save our republic.